can see me make a copy of my shell of basically the container. Now I'm deleting any of the original details because that will just interfere with me creating like the inner container. So I'm deleting all those sketches, any extrusions, removals. You can see me removing the face blends. That will actually be quite important. Just wait and watch. But notice how I'm actually not removing all of them. This is because I still want the container to be sliding nicely in and out. So I would still need those curvatures on which were, let's say, on the side of those pillars, on the inner side of those pillars um to basically have the boolean or to basically allow the boolean tool to recognize that okay, we also want to subtract those parts. So you can see me create a new extrude, change it to solid, and then select the sketch for original sketch 1 for the extrusion base. Because the software automatically gave it a different color of gray. I purposefully left out not increasing the gray by 0.5 at the bottom. This was because it was unnecessary and I'm only trying to create the container, and that ought be removed already. So now I go boolean subtract, and for my tool I would click part 1 and my target is part 2. Basically your tool is what is being removed and your target is the shape which you're removing from. You can now see me create a shell of 0.4 cm. Now you can see I'm using the extrusion tool here actually. So you can see if I was to do something like 0.1, that would obviously not work. This is because the thickness of the shell is 0.4. So I would ideally have to remove 0.4. In this case, I just went 0.5 just to be safe. You can see me do 1 cm. I had to shift these removals for the sides all the way back. Basically, this is because of the shell I created that caused there to be those gaps. So by moving this behind the shell, it prevents the sidewalls from disappearing. You can see me realizing that I accidentally left some of the walls there, so I'm actually having to go in and remove those. You can now simply zoom in and then go into extrusion, remove, and then select the side wall. You can see it's having to move the front side, so I just bring it back a bit. You can do this manually using the arrow. I then do it for all the other sides.
A few minutes later.
I actually ended up quickly changing it to 0.4 to match the thickness of the of the walls. You can see me first trying a random number basically, but then I just ended up using the arrow to bring it into normal position. This one is 1, so just press 1 and then you can see it worked out perfectly. So I do the exact same thing for the other side. And then also for the front.
A few minutes later.
I can see that little overhang area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually end up adding another extrusion on the plane I just selected. And so basically this would create for a much smoother insert experience. I've done this on both sides. I specifically put 11 for mine, accounting the 1 cm I removed at the front originally, and then also the 1 cm size of those overhangs. So it gave that clean look you can see there. Then you can see there's just a small section that's poking out, and that really just doesn't look nice. So what I decide to do now is go back, add another fillet. Basically just try to get that the end of that corner is like kind of just moved with the like overhang. If you see what I'm trying to do here. So try using the arrow tool on your own build, and it should work out. If you want to follow exactly what I'm doing, just copy the radius on screen right now, 0.02794, and it should work out. You're now seeing me doing it on the other side as well. I have now done it on the other side. Now you can see that there's a bit of this like corner sticking out. So basically, I'm actually going to end up selecting both and removing. So basically, if you remember how we had that little curved area, so we're going to have to remove these sections to allow for the cabinet to slide in. So it was as simple as putting it as 11 as well. And you can see that it's now done. But now you might notice that there's this like small gap and it's quite awkward. So yeah, I just added an extrusion and that fixes it. Actually, what you end up seeing me do is just to be space efficient. You can see those little gaps which were creating that awkward look. I add an extrusion to those. I eyeball this one just because you're only trying to fill in the gap.
A few minutes later.
So basically, what I did there was actually I removed a portion of the front side because I actually wanted to add some smoothness to the surface, but I was having a bit of a difficulty looking inside, so I temporarily added a removal extrusion. I selected a fillet and I selected that edge. You now see me playing around with the arrow to basically give me that desired look. And you can see me select the other edge as well. Click OK. So now firstly I'm just gonna remove that previous extrusion which I created. So I'm just gonna select that, delete, simple as that. Now so if I bring back the original like container, you can see there's these awful gaps that are formed. So to counteract this actually, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another extrusion, select that, and that surfaces, add, and then make that 0.4, the original removal I done. You can see I've added those, and then you can see me bring those parts back, and you can now see that it's fit perfectly. But now you might be wondering, how will I open it? So basically, to get over that, I'm just gonna be coming over here. I will be creating a new sketch. Create a few quick construction lines. Create a construction line from there to there to basically get the size, construction, and then dimension. Do the exact same for the vertical axis. So now basically what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a square. So I'm gonna make this roughly around 4, but I'll just press enter for now. 4, and then I personally think that maybe 3 should be enough. Oops, make that 3. Now see me trying to move it in position, but doesn't really matter, so I'm gonna join that to that connect, the line, and then this one to here. So make this line and this line construction, and then add the dimension of this line. So now this one I would want it to be 5, and then this one I would want it to be 1.5. Now you can see that centered. I can click OK. So I'm gonna have to add an extrude, some remove, but you can see it kind of creates this hole. So we really don't want that. So all I'm gonna do is make that 0.2 just to have some kind of indent into it. As you can see, I've done here. And then I would actually gonna come back to my sketch, make it visible again, come back, select the inside, rectangle, Select one of those corners, go over to another one. So now I make that 1 cm, click OK, complete another extrusion, but not too much. I personally feel like somewhere around here should be fine. So just to be specific, I'll make it 0.8. So I'll actually make that 1 cm. Click OK.
Montage.
I'll be creating another sketch on this side, and then all I do is create a line. So the reason I've went for like a more of a sharp edge is mostly because it'll be easier for the 3D printer to print. A smaller, smoother curve is a bit harder for the 3D printer to print because of it making small lines, whereas like a straight sharp edge is slightly easier. I'm gonna basically then remove by 4. And you can see this small little area. So I'm actually gonna come back to sketch, create another sketch unfortunately, create a rectangle stemming from this point, click OK, go ahead and remove 0.2, add just a small face blend over here just to make it a bit nicer, and here and here and here. So by eyeballing it, this is what I felt like. And then I'll add another fillet here, a small one, and then just another small one here, just to make it a bit nicer. Now, I changed the height to 2 because that's what I felt more comfortable doing. I then go back to the sketch, and I'm going to be creating another rectangle. This is supposed to be bigger than the original rectangle we created. I add my dimensions and construction lines. Because I want there to be a gap of 0.5 on both edges, I'm going to change the size to 5 and the height to 3. Change these to 0.5, click OK. Now I'm going to make the sketch visible again, and I'm going to do another extrusion. I'm going to make this 0.8. I removed some of the original curvatures because I felt like I'm not going to be using that right now. Because I thought the gap might be a bit small, a bit too small, I'm going to increase it by 0.5. So it's going to be 2.5 for the inner height of the inner box and 3.5 for the outside box. You can see how the extrusion automatically adjusts for the change in size. So I'm going to add some fillets and curve blends on the following edges. You can see by clicking the surface, it automatically selects all of the edges actually. I'm also going to select the corners. I'm playing around with the radius to see what I'm comfortable with. I felt like 0.25 is the perfect size for me, and I'm going to click OK. You can now see how through the use of Boolean we've created the country in a drawer, and so can you.